Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be uh, really heartwarming, I think. We're taking a deep dive into heartbeats celebrating human connection, stories of compassion from today.
mm.
It's a collection of stories that are going to remind us about the power of simple acts of kindness.
I like it.
I'm already excited to jump in.
Yeah, these stories, I think, showcase the incredible strength of the human spirit.
Hmm.
The empathy that we all possess to connect with others
Yeah.
and the profound impact that even small gestures can have. It's going to be really fascinating to unpack these narratives together.
I'm ready. And speaking of inspiration, the first story that really grabbed my attention takes us to the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
this is a story where the finish line isn't just about crossing first, but it's about the profound meaning behind how you cross it.
Hmm. Yeah, this story really beautifully illustrates the tension between personal victory and compassion. Two runners, they're locked in this incredible test of endurance, right? But they demonstrate that sometimes helping another is a victory in itself. What stood out to you about this act? Especially considering the competitive context of a marathon.
Well, it's almost counterintuitive.
Right.
In a race where every second counts, this runner chooses to pause, lift up a competitor, and share the finish line.
Wow.
It challenges the very definition of winning, doesn't it?
It really does.
Instead of individual glory, it becomes a shared triumph of the human spirit.
Exactly. It really flips the script on what we typically associate with achievement.
Right.
This act of kindness performed in such a public and high-stakes setting, it might make us reconsider our own priorities. Does success always have to come at the expense of others, or can there be a more collaborative approach, even in competitive environments?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of collaboration and a sense of community, there's this heartwarming story from Toronto, Canada. A group of school children, they took it upon themselves to spread holiday cheer.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah,
Their initiative, the Kids' Christmas Initiative, is a perfect example of how a simple idea can blossom into something incredibly impactful.
absolutely.
These children, they recognize that not everyone experiences the joy of the holiday season equally.
Mm-hmm.
And they rallied their community to collect gifts for children in foster care.
Wow.
It's a testament to their empathy and understanding of those less fortunate than themselves.
I love how their act goes beyond just giving presents. It's about sharing that sense of belonging, reminding these children that they are loved and valued by their community. It makes you wonder, how early do we develop this capacity for empathy and generosity?
Right. Yeah.
And how can we nurture it throughout our lives?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? It speaks to the idea that perhaps we're inherently wired for compassion,
Right.
even at a young age. The story from Toronto certainly makes a strong case for the innate goodness within us.
Absolutely. And from the bustling streets of Toronto, we traveled to Cape Town, South Africa, where a community transformed an abandoned building into a library of sharing. What I found fascinating about this initiative is how they took something negative, a neglected space, and turned it into a beacon of positivity and connection.
What's ingenious about the Library of Sharing is that it tackles several issues at once.
Oh, wow.
It fosters a love of reading, strengthens community bonds, and repurposes a space that might otherwise have been forgotten. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most resourceful solutions emerge from the heart of a community.
It's a beautiful example of how shared spaces can become catalysts for growth and connection. And speaking of individuals going above and beyond, our next story takes us to Mumbai, India,
Okay.
where a simple taxi ride becomes a touching example of human connection. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the story of a taxi driver who, noticing an elderly woman struggling to navigate the busy streets after dark,
Oh,
went beyond the call of duty to ensure her safe arrival home.
oh my.
Yeah, this seemingly small act speaks volumes about his character and compassion. What resonates with you about this story?
What strikes me is how this act of kindness unfolded amidst the chaos of a bustling city.
Yeah,
It's easy to get caught up in our own lives,
right.
but this driver chose to pause,
Right.
recognize a need,
Yeah.
and offer assistance without any expectation of reward. It's a quiet act of heroism, reminding us that kindness can emerge in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we all have that capacity to be that source of comfort and support for someone else. Even in the midst of our busy lives, sometimes those unexpected moments of human connection are where kindness really shines brightest.
absolutely. It makes me think about that ripple effect we talked about earlier. These seemingly small acts, like the taxi driver's gesture in Mumbai, they can create this cascade of positive energy. Someone might have witnessed that act of kindness and then felt inspired to help someone else.
Right, right, exactly. It reinforces that interconnectedness of our actions. You really never know how far even a simple gesture of compassion might travel.
Yeah, or how many lives it might touch.
Exactly.
And speaking of transformative actions, our next story takes us to Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh?
A community there came together to address a very basic need: food security. What's so inspiring about this Food Forest initiative is that they didn't just plant trees and vegetables, they cultivated a sense of hope and self-reliance.
Yeah. This story highlights the power of collective action, doesn't it? When people come together with a shared purpose, incredible things can happen. The food forest isn't just about providing sustenance. It's about empowering individuals and strengthening community bonds, fostering a sense of ownership over their resources.
Yeah, it's about planting seeds of change, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder,
Mm.
what kind of initiatives could we create in our own communities to address those shared challenges and foster a sense of belonging?
That's a great question. And as we explore the power of community, our journey takes us to Tokyo, Japan, where a seemingly ordinary commute becomes a moment of unexpected connection. Imagine, you're on a packed train, everyone jostling for space, and a mother is struggling to manage her baby and belongings. It's a scenario that could easily lead to frustration and stress, but in this case, it sparks an act of kindness.
I love this story. It really highlights the power of those micro connections, those small gestures that can make a world of difference in someone's day.
Right.
In a society that's often perceived as fast-paced and individualistic, this act of offering a helping hand on a crowded train stands out as a beautiful reminder that empathy can exist even in the most unexpected places.
It challenges our assumptions, doesn't it? It reminds us that even in those seemingly impersonal settings, we still have the choice to connect with others and offer support. Sometimes the most meaningful acts of kindness are the ones that disrupt our routines and remind us of our shared humanity.
From the bustling trains of Tokyo, we travel to a world where art becomes a tool for healing and transformation. The story of the artist in Berlin, Germany, who paints murals in children's hospitals, is a testament to the power of creativity to inspire hope and joy, even in the face of adversity.
This story speaks to the profound impact art can have on our emotional well-being. Imagine those children facing challenging medical journeys. They're finding solace and escape in the vibrant colors and imagery that's adorning their hospital walls.
It's like injecting a dose of optimism and wonder into an environment that can often feel sterile and overwhelming. Reminds me of the importance of incorporating art into our lives, not just as decoration, but as a source of inspiration and healing.
Absolutely. Art has this power to transcend language and cultural barriers. It connects us on a deeper emotional level. Speaking of transcendence, let's travel to Sydney, Australia, where a group of teenagers took their concerns about climate change and turned them into action. Their initiative to plant trees across their city is a powerful reminder that anyone, regardless of age, can be a catalyst for positive change.
What strikes me about this story is their sense of agency and responsibility. They didn't wait for someone else to solve the problem. They took ownership and rallied their community to join their cause. It's a powerful example of how even seemingly small actions can have a ripple effect, inspiring others to get involved and make a difference.
It speaks to the growing awareness and activism of younger generations, doesn't it? They're not waiting for permission to create the future they want to see. And speaking of creating a more harmonious world, our next story takes us to Cairo, Egypt, where music becomes a bridge between cultures.
The image of musicians from diverse backgrounds coming together for impromptu concerts in public spaces, it's so inspiring. It's a reminder that music is this universal language. It can transcend cultural differences and create a sense of unity.
It's like creating a microcosm of a more harmonious world, where people from all walks of life can come together, share their talents, and connect through the shared love of music.
Creating those moments of joy and connection, breaking down barriers and reminding us of our shared humanity. And finally, our journey takes us to São Paulo, Brazil, where a retired teacher is ensuring that education reaches even the most remote corners.
The story of the mobile library. Created from a simple van, it's a testament to the enduring power of education and the unwavering dedication of one individual to make a difference. What stands out to you about this story?
What's truly inspiring is that commitment to bring in knowledge and opportunity to those who might otherwise be excluded. It's a powerful reminder that education is a fundamental right. Even in retirement, we can continue to contribute to building a more equitable and enlightened society.
It speaks to the idea that learning is a lifelong journey, and that our passion for knowledge can continue to inspire us to make a positive impact on the world.
As we conclude this part of our deep dive, I'm struck by the diverse tapestry of human kindness we've witnessed. From those individual acts of compassion to those community-driven initiatives, these stories remind us that we all have that power to make a difference. Yeah, it feels like we've traveled the world, not by plane, but by the wings of human kindness. Each story and heartbeat reveals something so essential about who we are, about that potential we have to connect, uplift, and even inspire each other.
And as we wrap up our deep dive here,
Mhm.
I think it's worth reflecting on the lasting impact of these acts. It's easy
Yeah.
to be moved in the moment, but
Right.
what makes these stories truly resonate is the ripple effect they create.
Yeah. Think about those school children in Toronto, the ones who organized that Christmas toy drive.
Right.
I bet that experience stayed with them, shaped their understanding of community, maybe even sparked a lifelong passion for giving back.
Like planting a seed, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one act of kindness could blossom into a lifetime of generosity and engagement. And that ripple effect extends outwards too, touching the lives of those who received those gifts, those who saw it happen, even just those who heard the story.
It makes me think about that phrase, paying it forward. It's not just a feel-good concept, it's a real force that connects us through acts of compassion.
Wow.
Speaking of paying it forward, that story of the artist in Berlin, the one transforming those hospital walls into vibrant murals,
Oh, yeah.
that one really stuck with me.
What I find so fascinating about that story is how art becomes a conduit for healing, not just for the patients, but everyone who steps into that space.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that beauty and creativity can be really powerful antidotes to hardship and despair.
It makes me wonder if those murals spark something. Conversations, connections, little moments of shared joy. Right in the middle of those challenging circumstances, it's like the artist didn't just paint the walls, they painted a layer of hope onto the very fabric of that hospital.
And that sense of hope is so crucial, especially in those environments where people are facing those difficult situations. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there's always room for beauty, connection, and for the human spirit to shine through.
And speaking of shining through, the story from Nairobi where that community created that food forest, it's a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. That project didn't just address a need, it fostered a sense of ownership, a sense of pride, a connection to the land.
It's a good reminder that solutions to complex challenges can often be found within our communities
Right.
through collaboration, creativity, and that willingness to work together towards a common goal.
It's like they planted a garden of hope,
Yeah.
where every fruit and vegetable harvested represents not just sustenance, but the power of collective action, a belief in a brighter future. And as we finish up our exploration of Heartbeat, it's clear that these stories aren't just heartwarming anecdotes, they're calls to action.
They challenge us to look for those opportunities for kindness in our own lives,
Mm.
to be the change we want to see in the world. It might be a simple act of helping a neighbor, volunteering in our communities, or speaking up against injustice.
It's about recognizing that we all have the capacity to make a difference, no matter how small our actions might seem. So as we close this chapter of Heartbeat, I'm curious to know what resonated most with you. What story sparked a thought, a question, or maybe even an inspiration to act?
Because ultimately, the true power of these stories lies not just in reading them, but in living them, in carrying that spirit of Heartbeat with us as we navigate our own journeys.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of human connection. Until next time, may we all find ways to be the heartbeat of kindness in our own corners of the world.